Hi there, everybody, and welcome to the Growth Execution Podcast. We are here every week to talk with growth leaders, entrepreneurs, founders about their growth journeys and what really has helped them to get going. I'm delighted to be joined this week by Ken Attard of Mindset Malta. Ken, how are you doing?
I am doing super well, thank you. And yourself?
Really, really well. Thanks very much indeed. So look, it's great to have you on. Really fascinated by obviously the kind of whole mindset stuff and what we're here to talk about. But I wanted to first of all, you just talk to listeners through how you got started out on your kind of entrepreneur journey.
Oh, wow. Okay. So going back a bit, but I've basically been an entrepreneur approximately 20 years now, I'd say. Originally started out in banking.
Oh, wow.
Well, a bit before the banking I was actually a factory worker as a student for a little while, and then moved into banking. And I was there for a good 7 years in banking, and then decided, I enjoyed it, but really what I wanted to get out. I just wanted to get out and do something different, and moved into a sales job, which at the time, amazingly, I look back now and I go, 20 years ago, a banking job was looked at as something that was very secure, very, you decided that that's going to be for the rest of your life. But so when I made the change and decided to go into sales, that was a bit of a shock for a couple of people. But I just knew I'd wanted something more, and spent a couple of years there. And again, just had an opportunity came up to move into a business where I was a little more involved. It wasn't my business, but I was much more involved. Until 2000, I got out completely on my own and went into retail myself. Opened up a souvenir shop and opened up a couple of shops at that time.
Wow.
The timing was really good when I opened it. It was an amazing experience. And then, lo and behold, 2001, we had Twin Towers. So, that had an effect on tourism. It was a souvenir shop and a couple of gift shops. So, had to make some adjustments there, and went through some challenging times for a little while until 2006. I decided to close up completely all my shops.
Wow.
And had to make some adjustments. In the meantime, I had also built up a promotional merchandise business, which I was in partnership with someone at the time, and carried that out for quite some time, a good 10, 12 years, until I decided to completely move out on my own. Now, at this time, I'm still into promotional merchandise, but during this whole period, I'm saying from about 2005 onwards, I had started to delve into personal development. I had gotten involved in network marketing at one point in time, which introduced me to personal development. And I just carried on with that and continued to learn about that. And I actually got in contact with a cousin of mine who became a great mentor in Canada. And she came over and she organized some events here in Malta. And we just developed that over the years, and continued to do that. I continued to learn. She was a great mentor for me as well. And then I just decided to completely branch out completely on my own. And it was funny because at the end of 2019, I had always been doing some coaching, and I've been working with people. But at the end but always it was sort of like in the background, if I could explain that. It wasn't really forefront. Although it was a big part of my life, because personal development came a part of my life every single day. And end of 2019, I decided to really, catapult myself forward, and just created a simple Facebook page called Mindset Malta, where I was just offering some teachings, some videos, some lives. And lo and behold, we all know what happened in early 2020.
Yeah.
And I look back and I go, okay, so that was some divine intervention, because in the meantime, my promotional merchandise, because of all that went on, it's sort of like, just sort of not collapsed, but, everything went really quiet. The last thing I'm talking to businesses about are giveaways.
Yeah.
Which and understandable, right? It's not exactly top of mind for them, right? Like, Ken, really, don't talk to me about a pen that you want me to give to my clients, or whatever merchandise, And obviously then I just decided to invest even more in myself, and I've been working on, and what I've really narrowed it down. Now I'm really focused on working with entrepreneurs. And basically, I help frustrated entrepreneurs to adapt and pivot their business using a proprietary ARC method. They are able to have more time freedom. And why do I mention this? Because after, interviewing a number of entrepreneurs and asking them, what are the challenges that they have? It's amazing how many entrepreneurs, although they started their business, this is what's so amazing to me, is that they started their business because they had a great idea. They wanted to present this idea to a market, whether that was their local market, the world, whatever it was, so that they could essentially, earn the income that they wanted to earn, live the lifestyle that they wanted to, and essentially have the time for themselves that they wanted.
Yes.
Yet, I found that so many entrepreneurs, rather than having that time freedom, were now working 10, 12, 14, 15-hour days, and not for short periods of time. It became the norm. And what I am out to completely shatter, at least this is my aim, is to shatter, is the belief that an entrepreneurial lifestyle needs to be a continuous struggle, needs to be suffering, needs to be, always a continuous sacrifice. And the reason I want to shatter this is, over the years, what I've learned for myself as an entrepreneur is that you can actually have a business that is fun, that is fulfilling, that is inspirational, and at the same time, have the time freedom that you want to live your life. Because so many entrepreneurs are just not living their life. They're so engrossed in their business, which is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But if that's all you're living for, then things start to become unbalanced. And what I have found as well is that it starts to become very incongruent to the values that the entrepreneur actually started out with. And as things start to become incongruent, now the decisions that are being taken by the entrepreneur on a day-to-day basis start to become incongruent as well with their values. And this is what I have a firm belief that from a mindset point of view, and that's where things start to shift. When you start to shift the way you think, that is when your results and the experiences that you're having in your life start to shift.
And I really want to dig into that side of things, because I think that's so important, right? Because
absolutely, it is everything.
Yeah, it underpins everything that you do. And I think that what you've talked about, particularly through your history, is a lot of people struggle, I think, with this idea of kind of change. And if I've set out on this path, and I've kind of, almost bloody mindedly, I've got to just keep on keeping on. And I can't divert, I can't change, because that's failure. That's explaining to other people why I haven't completed that particular mission. But actually, it's about the framing of the mission, isn't it? And it's about how you see that mission through different stages.
Absolutely. And exactly. And in fact, in my ARC method, the second pillar, one of the pillars is adapting. Yet before we get to adapting, entrepreneurs, people in general, it's imperative that they that they have a certain element of awareness. And what do I mean by this? So yes, change is pretty well the only constant. As ironic as that sounds, it's the only constant. We've heard it many times, and change is always going to be there. Like I said, when I opened my first, retail outlet in August 2000, I knew that the outlet was going to be successful from the first day. I just knew it, and it was. I got 1 year before Twin Towers happened. At the time, I was like, and it sounds really, I'd say, it was like I'm looking upwards, and I'm going, could you not have given me at least 5 years? Did you have to do it after one? Did this have to happen after 1 year?
And that's
but again, this is how we grow, are through the challenges as well, without a doubt. But because I was learning about mindset already at that time, and thankfully so, I did realize, and I think this is really important for any entrepreneur to understand, is that we are creating our results and our experiences in our life. We are creating them, no one else. Circumstances are always going to be there. Some of them are going to be great circumstances. Some of them are going to be circumstances that are challenging. Without a doubt, we've been through a challenging year and a half, or how long it's been now, I've lost track. But I know it's just like, okay, and circumstances are outside of us though. And this is why mindset is so important, because when we can go inside and when we can start to make the changes with ourselves and the way we think, because our thinking creates our emotions.
Yeah.
And our emotions will lead us to the actions and the behaviors that we take. And those actions and behaviors are going to lead us to our results and our experiences. Mm-hmm. So if there are areas in our business or in our life in general that we're not happy with the results and experiences we're having, then I need to go back and start to change the way I think. Yeah. Which then is going to be tied in with what we believe. And this is the crux of everything, is that if you've been taught, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if if you go to any entrepreneurial seminar, if you read any books on entrepreneurship, anything involved with entrepreneurship, you will always hear about action and taking action and how imperative it is. I am not here to deny that. I believe action is essential. Yet I've come to discover that there is a significant difference between action and inspired action. There's a huge difference, because action, there are a lot of people who are really busy doing nothing. They're always busy. Like they're just always busy, but they always seem to be in the same place. They're just really busy doing nothing. And I say with the utmost respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you learn to become aware and actually learn to take moments and stop to actually align yourself, another pillar of my ARC method is alignment, which is right in the middle, because everything's attached to that. And when I say alignment, I mean, take time to stop. One of the first things I will tell entrepreneurs that are going really fast is you need to stop. Mm-hmm. Yet we've been taught, most entrepreneurs have been taught that if you stop, if you're not taking enough action, someone else is taking action and you're losing out. Yeah. Which is only a lack mentality. It's only a lack mentality, because because you're thinking that the proverbial pie of abundance is limited, that someone's taking a slice from you. But when you come from an abundant mindset, you will start to understand that this pie is unlimited. No one can take anything from you. Yeah. There's more than enough for you and everybody else when you come from that mindset. Yeah. So one of the first things I tell them to do is stop. Stop going so fast. And they go, stop? What do you mean stop? Well, when you think about it though, stopping in itself is an action. Mm-hmm. You've taken the decision to stop, the action to stop. Yeah. And as you stop, you actually start to slow down a bit, slow down your mind, slow down your thinking, because most entrepreneurs are going 24/7. They might not be at the workplace, but they're thinking while they're lying down in bed. They're thinking while they're with their family. They're thinking about all the things that are going on in their business. And as you're continuously thinking like this and not stopping, you're not allowing space for new ideas, new ways of adapting, of pivoting to potentially come in. That's why you could find yourself, I don't know, taking a shower and not thinking about anything, and then all of a sudden a great idea pops into your head.
That's when it happens, right?
Because you've actually allowed that space to happen. Now imagine doing that on purpose. Mm-hmm. Imagine actually saying, okay, I'm going to dedicate this amount of time every day to actually slowing down, to actually allowing myself to connect, to call it whatever you'd like to call it God, call it the divine, call it Gaia, call it John, call it Bill, whatever you'd like to call it. But there is something bigger than you that you can tap into.
Fantastic.
That can actually give you these ideas.
And there's a couple of things that I just wanted to pick out a little bit out on that. And one of them is certainly around the choice side of things, which I think is fascinating, because you're absolutely right. So many, entrepreneurs that I meet, and I know you do too. It is just this constant treadmill of just just keep going. And just look, I've made a decision. I've really just got to keep going at it. That sort of being able to have that choice. There's a great kind of line from, and I think it comes from Stoic philosophy and elsewhere, around this kind of, the only choice you really have is how you respond to events, right? So as you've said, circumstances happen, Twin Towers happen, pandemics happen. Your choice is not whether that's going to happen, it is how you respond to it. And that again drives into your point about this space. And are you a believer, and you refer to kind of the entity, are you a believer in mindfulness, in meditation? Is that part of how you coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I do involve meditation, but see, people get scared of meditation sometimes because they think it's something really, really big. Sometimes I just like to call it quiet time. I mean, it could be 5 minutes petting your cat, petting your dog. It's amazing how you can be in the moment just as, because you're so engrossed in your pet, for instance, for those few minutes. And think about it. You know, even our pets, they'll have a certain frequency, and they literally take us away from all of the thoughts that we have, for instance. I like to call it quiet time a lot of times just to make it really easy. And sometimes it's just a matter of finding those 5 minutes where you slow down. It could be potentially during your workday where you say, listen, you know what, let me take a minute to just stay quiet for a minute and maybe think about something that I could be grateful for or show some appreciation for, because sometimes we forget that. And as we focus on that appreciation or that gratitude, this is what's interesting, is that we start to tap into, let's say, that frequency, which now opens the doors for more of things that are aligned with that frequency to enter our lives. So we do have an effect on the circumstances that are happening around us as well. So the way we think, you know, if I'm constantly thinking about the fact that, let's say, you know, life is horrible, you know, I can't stand my life. If I'm constantly aligned with that frequency, or someone who's always complaining, you know, everybody knows someone who's always complaining.
Don't we all? Yeah,
right? So, but notice these people who complain, for instance, how they get rid of one thing to complain about, and another one enters their life. It's only because they're aligned with that frequency. Whether a lot of people don't realize, and this is part of the awareness, is that even ourselves, we are vibrating at a frequency that we align with. Sometimes that frequency is anger. Sometimes that frequency is joy. Sometimes it's that we're going in and out. Yeah. With awareness and learning and truly learning, you will start to stay in a higher vibration, a higher frequency more often. We are human. We will go through our challenges. We will have moments of a lower frequency, if you want to call it. But if most of the time I can stay at an elevated frequency, you know, looking at the things that are working in my life, looking at the things that are working in my business. So let's look at an entrepreneur. How many entrepreneurs get stuck in looking at everything that's not working and only looking at what's not working, hence creating more of what's not working, rather than just shifting the focus a bit and saying, okay, let me look at what is working, align with that more so that I can bring in more opportunity for things to work even better.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's really a matter of, there's something that I call, I've called it the triple U syndrome. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? U being the letter U. See, because in today's world, there's tons of information available to us. We have, I have more information available to me in one day than my great-grandparents could have had available to them in a lifetime.
That's amazing, isn't
right? It's mind-blowing, right? Yeah. It is absolutely, which is wonderful, which is amazing. So, you know, most entrepreneurs nowadays as well have heard about mindset. In one way or another. They've heard about mindset. They might have heard a podcast here, a podcast there. They might have read a book. They might have, but amazingly, I've discovered, which amazingly is this, they hear about mindset, but somehow the first U is it gets underestimated. So they hear about mindset, they might get inspired for a day or two or something, and they might look into it, but somehow they take it and they put it on the back shelf over here. Yeah. And, you know, one day I'll get to it.
Busy, got other things to do.
Right? You know, I think there's the everyday tasks of the business, there's this and all that stuff, right? Yeah. So because of that, it gets undervalued. Second U, it gets undervalued. Again, it gets left there. And because it's underestimated and undervalued, all right, it gets underutilized, the third U. So it gets left there. If I said to you that the way you think, your mindset is truly your superpower, it is the key to your success. And define success any way you'd like to. It's different for different people, but it is the key to everything that you want. Everything that you want. Would you, if you knew that for certain, would you really leave it there?
I think that's wonderful.
But somehow it's not, and I understand why it happens. It happens because it's still not a strong enough belief.
Yeah.
It's still not as strong. Once that belief becomes strong, you will not leave it there. You say, listen, I got to do this every day. I got to take quiet moments every single day. I need to feed my mind every single day, things that are going to help me to have a better output.
Yeah.
Right. Rather than letting myself feed myself garbage.
I think that's so true. And I think, like, just as you said, we all know the person who's complaining all the time. We also probably all know somebody who for whom things just seem to happen so well all the time, right? And this is what you're talking about. It is the flip side of that complaining. We don't tend to focus on those guys quite as much.
and you know why? Because we love to hear the story of struggle.
Yeah,
we love to hear someone who was struggling and then finally made it, which is wonderful. Don't get me wrong, but to hear about the guy who just, coasted through, was successful. And I was like, like the guy is so, I don't want to hear about it because he's so lucky. Yeah, or she's so lucky. Like, that's just not fair. That's just not fair. We don't like you, but we love to hear the story, right? I mean, we love to hear the struggling stories. Yeah, and again, because that is part of how our beliefs, how a lot of people have tapped into that belief, that if you haven't struggled, then you're not doing enough yet. Where's, and I need to struggle. I need to struggle so that I can make, I got to keep going so I can make it. And again, I emphasize, because some people might be listening, well, come on, Ken, how is it even possible that you're never going to have, you will have your challenges. But when you can come to a point where you are almost laughing while going through those challenges, then that's where you're starting to become successful. Because ultimately, you're not getting lost in what you're attempting to acquire, which is future. And you're not getting lost in what's happened in the past, which is the past, because you truly only have this moment. As much as a cliche that sounds, but you only have this moment. As we are speaking now, what I said a minute ago, it's gone, it's done, it's finished. We only have this moment. And right now, in this very moment, as you and I speak, where we stand right now, life is good, this very moment. So why am I worrying about what could potentially happen in a year's time? What could potentially happen in 4 years' time? And people who get caught up in that is how they get themselves stuck. And even when you're going through a challenging moment, 99.9% of the time, a couple of years down the road, you're going to be looking back and laughing. So why wait? You might as well laugh now, right? And as you laugh and you create a good feeling, you start to tap into that frequency to allow more good stuff to come into your life and into your business ultimately.
That's brilliant. Ken, listen, I could absolutely genuinely talk to you for hours because I love this stuff. Thank you so much for all you've shared so far.
It's an absolute pleasure for being here.
Listen, so I've got a few quick fire questions I'd just like to ask all the guests as well, just to kind of give a sort of bit more of a frame for our listeners about you and so on. So tell me, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Probably to shut up.
Is that right?
And listen to what people are saying and give them the attention they deserve.
Fantastic. Thank you. Do you have anybody that's kind of like an inspiration to you?
Oh, wow. There are so many. I can say, like I said, originally when I started out, my cousin was a great mentor for me. Her name's Jackie Backman. She still is an amazing mentor for me. I mean, there's so many people. I love Abraham Hicks. Esther Hicks. Wayne Dyer has been an inspiration for me in the past as well. Dr. David Hawkins has been amazing as well. There's just so many. There's so many great people out there, and like I said, there's so much information, and it's a matter of it's really like resonating with people, right? Sometimes someone could be listening to me and say, "Yeah, I really don't resonate with this guy." It's okay. You don't have to resonate. It's okay, and so people who resonate with me might not resonate with other people. And then other people listen to me and go, wow, that's amazing.
Exactly that. And that's one of the reasons why I love these kind of conversations is I know that there's going to be people out there who are getting so much from this. So, again, thank you. I wonder as well, if you were to go back in time to, let's say, when you started up the souvenir shop, what would you wish you had known then that you know now?
Wow, I really wish, well, the only thing that I would say, everything about mindset and how it functions, if I had known that when I was 18, would have made an amazing difference. At the same time, I do understand that everything has panned out perfectly. And if I were to go back to my younger self and look at, and I would just say, listen, Ken, there will be challenges along the way. No need to worry. Everything works out perfectly in the end.
Brilliant. Thank you. And final one, for those that are just about to start out right now, what would be your kind of top tip? What would be the thing that those young entrepreneurs, perhaps just breaking away from their own corporate lives, all that sort of thing, perhaps a bit older, what would be the thing that you would want them to know as they embark on that journey?
I would say definitely delve into personal development and make it a core part of your life every single day. When it comes to mindset and how you think, understand the process and what goes on. And because that's going to make an essential difference. Be gentle with yourself. That's what I would tell them. Be gentle with yourself. You will make mistakes along the road. It's okay. Just like if you had a friend of yours who was going through a challenge and made a mistake, how would you speak to them? Probably quite gently, but sometimes we're very hard on ourselves. And also I would say, remember, you deserve to be successful. You deserve to have everything that you want in your life. Enjoy the ride, have fun. Make sure you have fun every single day and laugh a lot more, including at yourself.
Wonderful. Ken Attard, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your time and for your worldly wisdom and advice there.
My absolute pleasure.
How can our listeners get in touch with you?
Right now, what I'd like to offer your listeners right now is there's two options they can have. They can go to a free masterclass, completely free, no obligation, at adaptandpivotnow.com. So that's completely free. Or they can also opt into a consumer educational guide, which is successfulentrepreneur.now.com. And those two are completely free. So anybody who's listening, if they go there, they can opt in for those completely free.
Wonderful. Ken, thank you so much for that, for the offers, for the advice. I've loved this podcast, and it's great to catch up. And I look forward to catching up again soon.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mal.
That's brilliant. Listen, that was Ken Attard. Do go and we'll put all of the links in the podcast notes so you can get in touch with Ken. That was the Growth Execution podcast for this week. Hope you got loads out of it. I know I certainly did. We are going to be back next week with yet another awesome entrepreneur guide to how to help you launch, build and grow your business. So if you're out there, if you're struggling, if there's challenges around, do tune in again next week. Looking forward to catching up then. And in the meantime, have a great growth week.